If you can finish that architect's work, I'll marry you. That's what the arrogant young CEO said, never imagining the poor black janitor in front of him would actually do it. But when she did, what happened next shocked everyone. In a world full of struggles and second chances, every story hides a lesson worth learning. This is Afnan Art, where ordinary lives become extraordinary tales. Sit back, open your heart, and let the story begin. The morning sun spilled through the glass windows of Walker Design Studio, casting golden light over the spotless marble floor. The building stood tall in downtown Manhattan, filled with ambitious young designers wearing clean suits and carrying expensive tablets. But among them walked Lena Brown, a quiet woman in a blue janitor's uniform, holding a mop bucket that squeaked slightly with every turn of the wheel. Her steps were careful, her movements graceful, almost invisible to everyone around her. Each morning, she arrived before dawn, wiping away fingerprints on doors and dust on tables that weren't hers. She had memorized every corner of the building, the shape of the stairs, the symmetry of the elevators, the rhythm of the office lights that flickered when the power lagged for half a second. While others saw only work, Lena saw design. Every pattern of light, every reflection on glass. Her mind sketched them into invisible blueprints. But no one knew that behind her quiet smile lived the soul of an architect. Years ago, she graduated top of her class from Howard University, dreaming of designing buildings that spoke to humanity. Yet life had other plans. Her father's death, her mother's illness, and the weight of bills forced her into silence. She took any job that kept the lights on. Even this one, cleaning an office full of people doing what she was meant to do. Still, Lena never complained. Every night when the world went to sleep, she sat in her small apartment in Harlem, sketching buildings by candlelight. Towers that touched the sky, libraries built like hearts, bridges that looked like open arms. She believed that one day, someone might see her drawings. Someone who would believe in her again. But that day hadn't come. Not until the night she crossed paths with Ethan Walker. Ethan was nothing like the world she knew. He was rich, brilliant, but heavy with arrogance. The kind of man who spoke like the world bent around him. His company, Walker Design Studio, was famous for modern skyscrapers that changed city skylines. But lately, the genius had been cracking under pressure. Lena often heard his angry voice echoing through the hallway late at night, yelling about missed deadlines, broken concepts, and failed designs. Sometimes, she paused by his door, listening quietly. And though she never entered, she would whisper under her breath, "You're missing the warmth, the soul." That night, she was supposed to clean his office and leave before he returned from his meeting. But fate had other plans. The storm outside delayed him, and when he walked in, she was still there, kneeling by his desk, wiping dust off the corner. Ethan barely noticed her at first, his mind tangled with problems. He threw a pile of sketches onto the desk, cursed under his breath, and muttered, "I don't even know what I'm doing anymore." Lena froze. For a moment, she saw something rare in his voice, defeat. "Maybe you just need to see it differently," she said softly. Ethan's head lifted. Their eyes met for the first time. He stared, unamused. "And you would know that how?" Lena's lips curved slightly. "I clean your floors every day. I see the patterns people leave behind. Sometimes, the mistakes are clearer from down here." It was a simple line, but it struck him, half insult, half truth. Ethan gave a faint, bitter laugh. "You're bold for a janitor." She lowered her gaze again. Sometimes, boldness is the only thing poor people have left. He didn't know what to say, and for the first time that night, Ethan didn't feel like laughing. The next morning, the city buzzed under gray clouds. Inside Walker Design Studio, tension filled the air. The boardroom was alive with murmurs and half-finished ideas. Blueprints scattered across the long oak table, each one rejected, each one missing something Ethan couldn't name. Ethan Walker sat at the head of the table, his jaw tight, his eyes red from another sleepless night. Around him, his senior architects argued over details that didn't matter, angles, colors, materials, but none could capture the spirit Ethan demanded. "This isn't just a building," he said sharply. "It's supposed to represent renewal, hope. Yet all I see is glass and steel with no life." The room fell silent. No one dared to speak after that. Ethan pushed his chair back and stood. "You all can go. I'll handle this myself." He walked out before anyone could reply, his footsteps echoing down the hallway. When he reached his office, he shut the door harder than he meant to. His reflection stared back from the glass window behind his desk. Young, handsome, successful, but hollow. He loosened his tie and rubbed his temples. It had been months since he felt peace. The government project was his biggest contract yet, but every failed concept felt like a nail in his career's coffin. Investors were nervous. The press whispered about his creative decline. He picked up a sketch from the pile. Lines crossed each other like broken veins, chaotic and meaningless. "What is wrong with me?" he muttered. A soft sound interrupted him, the rhythmic squeak of a mop. Lena had entered quietly to clean, her presence gentle like a shadow. She saw him standing there, eyes lost in thought, and said nothing. Ethan turned. "You again?" "Yes, sir," she said politely, continuing her work. He sighed and dropped back into his chair. "Do you ever get tired of doing the same thing every day?" She smiled faintly. "No, sir. Every day, I clean a different mess. That keeps it interesting." He gave a dry laugh. "Fair enough." For a moment, silence filled the room. Only the soft hum of the air conditioner and the rustle of papers broke it. Then Ethan looked at the unfinished design on his monitor. "You ever look at something so long you can't see it anymore?" he asked, half to himself. Lena paused. "Maybe because you're looking with your eyes, not your heart." He looked up. "And you think you can see what I can't?" Her tone remained calm. "Sometimes people who are outside the frame see the picture clearer." Ethan's lips curved into a smirk. "You talk like a philosopher. Or an artist." She met his gaze for the first time, her dark eyes steady. "Maybe I used to be." Something in her voice made him stop breathing for a second. There was weight there, something deeper than small talk. But he dismissed it with another smirk. "Then maybe you should design the building for me." Lena wiped the last corner of the table and straightened her back. "If you really want me to, I can try." Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. "You're serious?" "Yes." He leaned back, amused and slightly annoyed. "All right then. The design file is on that desk. If you can finish it and make it better than my team's, I'll marry you." The words slipped out like a cruel joke, born from stress and pride. Lena looked at him quietly. "You promise?" Ethan raised an eyebrow. "I don't break promises, especially ones I'll never have to keep." Without another word, Lena walked to the desk, her heart steady. She didn't look at him again. Her hands brushed the smooth surface of the table before picking up a pencil. Ethan expected her to hesitate. Instead, she began to draw. Her strokes were precise, fast, confident, controlled. Every line had purpose. The sound of graphite against paper filled the room like music. For the first time in weeks, Ethan fell silent. He watched the woman he thought he knew reveal a side he couldn't comprehend. There was something extraordinary in her calmness, something he couldn't stop watching. The night fell quiet over New York City. Outside, rain painted streaks across the office windows, each droplet catching the light from the street below. The city never truly slept, but inside Walker Design Studio, silence ruled. Only two souls remained awake. Ethan Walker sat on the sofa, watching. Lena Brown stood by the CEO's desk, sleeves rolled up, her uniform slightly damp from the rain she'd walked through earlier. A single desk lamp cast soft light over her face, revealing focus and determination that didn't belong to a simple cleaner. Ethan leaned forward, half curious, half skeptical. "You really think you can fix that design?" She didn't look up. "I don't think," she said quietly. "I know." Her pencil glided across the blueprint with effortless precision. Each movement seemed deliberate. No wasted strokes, no hesitation. She adjusted proportions, reshaped corners, and redrew the core structure of the building with speed that shocked him. Ethan rose and walked behind her, arms crossed. "Where did you learn that?" Lena kept her eyes on the paper. "At Howard University. Architecture major." His expression shifted. "You graduated?" "Top of my class," she replied. "But life doesn't care much about grades when you can't pay rent." The truth stung the room with quiet honesty. Ethan didn't speak for a moment. He watched as her hands moved like an artist's, blending logic and emotion in perfect harmony. The lines she drew weren't just technical, they were alive, breathing. Minutes turned into hours. The storm outside deepened. Thunder rolled through the city, and yet Lena didn't stop. She erased, refined, drew again, building a vision that felt both futuristic and human. At one point, Ethan muttered, "What are you trying to make it feel like?" Without pausing, she answered, "A place where people don't just work, but belong." Architecture isn't about buildings. It's about people. He fell silent again. Something unfamiliar stirred in him. Respect. By midnight, the design began to take shape. The building she created was unlike anything Ethan's firm had ever proposed. Its facade curved gently toward the sky, echoing the flow of light through its glass skin. Solar panels blended seamlessly into the structure. Green spaces ran like veins through every level, connecting people to nature in ways most architects forgot. Ethan stared at it, speechless. This is impossible," he whispered. Lena stepped back, wiping graphite dust from her hands. "No," she said softly. "It's what happens when you stop building walls and start designing connections." Her voice was steady, but her eyes were tired. It had been a long day, and dawn wasn't far away. Ethan turned toward her slowly. "Why didn't you ever apply here as an architect?" "I did," she replied, her voice almost a whisper. 3 years ago, HR said I wasn't the right fit." He blinked. "They said that?" She smiled faintly. "Maybe they were right. Maybe I was meant to start from the floor before reaching the ceiling." The rain outside eased, leaving a gentle hum. Ethan stood still, his pride melting into quiet awe. He realized then that the woman in front of him wasn't someone to pity. She was someone he had underestimated and could never forget again. Lena gathered her cleaning tools and said softly, "You should get some rest, Mr. Walker. Tomorrow, your design team will need direction." He nodded, still lost in thought, staring at the blueprint she left behind. When she walked out of the room, he whispered to himself, "What if I just met the real architect I've been searching for?" The next morning, sunlight spilled through the tall windows of Walker Design Studio, washing away the traces of last night's storm. Ethan arrived early, carrying a quiet anticipation he couldn't explain. The blueprint still lay on his desk, Lena's design from the night before. He stared at it again, half expecting to find mistakes, but there were none. Every detail fit perfectly, every angle balanced both beauty and purpose. He called in his senior architects. "Take a look at this," he said. The team gathered around, murmuring in disbelief. "Who did this?" one asked. "It's brilliant." Ethan didn't answer right away. He watched their reactions, the surprise, the envy, the sudden realization that someone had achieved what they couldn't. Then he finally spoke. "A janitor," he said quietly. The room fell silent. Some of them laughed nervously, thinking he was joking, but Ethan's eyes stayed serious. "Lena Brown. She drew this. Alone." No one knew what to say. Ethan turned toward the window. His reflection looked back at him, an image of a man who had spent years chasing perfection, only to be taught humility by someone he had underestimated. He made a decision right then. "Prepare the presentation," he said. "We're submitting this design to the city board tomorrow." One of the senior architects protested. "Sir, you can't present a design without credits or a proper team signature." "I'll handle the credit," Ethan cut him off sharply. "You just prepare the visuals." They obeyed, but whispers followed him all day. By noon, word had spread through the office. Rumors about a janitor who had outdesigned the company's entire architecture team. Some laughed, some doubted, but others looked at Lena with new eyes as she moved quietly through the halls, mopping the floors as if nothing had changed. When Ethan walked past her that afternoon, she looked up briefly. "Good morning, sir." He stopped. "Lena, I showed them your design." She froze, her mop halfway across the floor. "You did what?" "I had to," he said simply. "It's too good to hide." Her face tensed with worry. "That wasn't my intention. I didn't draw it to embarrass anyone." Ethan shook his head. "You didn't embarrass anyone. You reminded us what creativity actually looks like." She looked away, uncertain. "People won't like it. You know that." "I don't care what they like," he replied, his tone soft but firm. "I care about what's right." Lena hesitated, searching his face for mockery or pride, but found neither. Just honesty. For the first time, she saw Ethan not as a boss or a man of wealth, but as someone who understood the value of truth. That evening, after everyone left, Ethan stood once more by his window. The city glowed beneath him, alive with stories he'd never taken the time to see. He thought of Lena, how she'd survived so much and still carried herself with dignity. He realized he didn't just admire her skill, he admired her strength. At that same moment, Lena sat on a small bench at the bus stop outside, holding a folded copy of her sketch in her lap. The cool wind brushed her face, carrying the faint sound of traffic and music from a nearby cafe. She didn't know that, in the coming days, her life was about to change completely. The following day, the entire office buzzed with nervous energy. Everyone knew that Walker Design Studio would present a new concept to the city board, a concept that could save or destroy the company's reputation. Ethan arrived early, dressed in a sharp charcoal suit, his tie slightly loosened, his mind racing. He had spent the night refining Lena's sketches, but he hadn't changed a single design line. He knew better than to touch perfection. By 9 o'clock, the boardroom filled with officials, investors, and city planners. Laptops glowed, papers shuffled, and the tension could be felt like static in the air. Ethan stood at the front, calm but intense. "Good morning," he began, his voice steady. "What I'm about to show you is not just architecture. It's a vision of what our city could become, a space where people feel connected again." The presentation began. On the screen appeared Lena's design, a magnificent structure of glass and green, elegant yet humane. The building reflected light like a living sculpture, and its interior flowed naturally, open, warm, alive. Murmurs of awe filled the room. "Who designed this?" one of the officials asked, impressed. Ethan paused. He could have taken the credit. No one would have known. But something inside him refused to lie. He took a slow breath. "A woman named Lena Brown," he said clearly. "She works in my office. She cleans the floors you walk on." Gasps rippled through the room. The officials exchanged glances, unsure if he was joking. But Ethan's eyes told the truth. "She's an architect," he continued, "a graduate of Howard University. And this," he gestured toward the screen, "is her creation." Silence followed. Then one of the board members leaned forward. "If that's true, she's brilliant. This design captures everything our city needs." Approval spread quickly after that. Questions turned to praise. By the time the meeting ended, Ethan knew they had won. The project was theirs. As the room emptied, he remained alone for a moment, staring at the final image of the building glowing on the screen. A strange warmth filled his chest, pride, not for himself, but for her. That evening, as the office lights dimmed and most of the staff went home, Ethan found Lena in the hallway, polishing the elevator doors. "Lena," he said softly. She turned, surprised to see him still there. "Yes, sir." He stepped closer, his voice low and sincere. "Your design, it's approved." She blinked, unsure she heard right. "Approved?" He nodded slowly. "The city loved it. They want us to start construction within 6 months." For a moment, she didn't move. The mop slipped from her hand and clattered softly against the floor. "I don't understand," she whispered. "That design, it wasn't supposed to be mine. It was yours." "No," Ethan said firmly. "It was always yours. I only showed them the truth." Her eyes glistened. "They know I'm a janitor." "Yes," he replied. "And they also know you're a genius." Lena took a small step back, overwhelmed. "People will talk." "Let them," he said. "I'd rather stand beside the truth than live under a lie." The hallway fell quiet. Only the soft hum of the lights surrounded them. Ethan's gaze softened. "You changed everything today, Lena. Not just for the company, for me too." She looked up at him, unsure what he meant. But in his eyes, she saw something beyond admiration. Something she had tried to forget existed. That night, as Lena walked home under the city lights, she replayed his words again and again in her mind. She had been invisible for so long, but now, someone had seen her. Someone who mattered. Days passed, but the air inside Walker Design Studio felt different now. People spoke softer when Lena walked by. Some whispered, some stared, but a few smiled, finally realizing they had been working beside a hidden talent all along. Lena tried to ignore it all. She came early, left late, and kept her head down. Yet every time she walked into the CEO's floor, her chest tightened a little. Ethan had started greeting her by name now, not just as the janitor. One afternoon, he invited her into his office. "Come in, Lena," he said, gesturing to the seat across from his desk. His tone was gentle, almost unsure. She sat quietly, clutching the edges of her cleaning gloves. Ethan cleared his throat. "I've been thinking. The city board wants us to move forward with your design. They've asked to meet the lead architect." Lena froze. "The lead architect?" He nodded. "You." Her heart skipped. "But I can't," she said quickly. "I'm not. I don't belong in those rooms, Ethan." "Yes, you do," he said firmly. "You earned it." You're the reason this company still has a future." Her eyes met his for the first time in days. The way he said her name, it wasn't just respect anymore. There was warmth there, something deeper. She looked away, trying to steady her breath. People will think it's ridiculous. A janitor, suddenly a designer. He leaned forward slightly. "Let them. You've been living beneath what you deserve long enough." Silence filled the room, soft and charged. Ethan's gaze lingered on her, studying the quiet strength in her eyes. "Why do you still work here, Lena?" he asked. She hesitated. "Because I need to survive." He nodded slowly, but his voice softened. "No. I mean, why here? Why this company?" Her answer came after a long pause. "Because every time I looked at these walls, I saw the dream I lost, and I wanted to be near it, even if I could only clean it." Those words hit deeper than she realized. Ethan looked down, his jaw tightening. For the first time, he felt ashamed, not of her past, but of the world that forced her into it. When she stood to leave, he stopped her. "Lena," he said quietly, "you don't have to hide who you are anymore." She turned back, her expression unreadable. Maybe not, but the world doesn't change overnight. Their eyes locked again, and something unspoken passed between them, a feeling neither dared to name yet. That night, Ethan stayed in his office long after she left. He opened her design again, tracing the curves and details with his fingertips. Every line spoke of her, humble, strong, full of soul. And for the first time in years, he realized he wasn't just drawn to the work. He was drawn to her. Meanwhile, in her small apartment, Lena sat on her bed, staring at her phone screen. It glowed with a new message. From Ethan Walker. "Meeting with the city board tomorrow. I want you there beside me." She read it twice, her heart racing. A smile touched her lips, a mix of fear and something that felt dangerously like hope. The next morning arrived cold and bright, with sunlight bouncing off the skyline of Manhattan. Inside Walker Design Studio, the atmosphere was electric. It was the day of the official presentation, the day Lena Brown would face the city board as the lead architect of the company's newest landmark. Lena stood in front of a mirror in the restroom, adjusting the simple white blouse she had borrowed from her neighbor. Her hands trembled slightly. She had never worn business clothes before. The reflection staring back at her hardly looked like the woman who used to push a mop down the same hallway. Outside, Ethan waited. When she stepped out, his breath caught for a moment. "You look," he paused, searching for the right word. "Like the woman who built the future." Lena smiled faintly. "Don't flatter me, Mr. Walker. I'm already nervous enough." Ethan chuckled softly. "Then just remember, it's your design. You know it better than anyone in that room." As they entered the city hall, the grand chamber loomed before them. Rows of officials, architects, and journalists filled the seats. Cameras flashed. Everyone expected to see Ethan Walker present as always, confident, composed, the prodigy of the architecture world. But when Ethan took the microphone, he spoke differently this time. "Before we begin," he said, "there's someone you all need to meet. The mind behind this design. The person whose vision made it possible." He turned toward Lena. "Miss Lena Brown." The room fell silent. Lena walked slowly to the front, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor. She felt hundreds of eyes watching her, some curious, some skeptical, some outright judgmental. But when she looked at the model of her building projected on the screen, all fear faded. She began to speak. "This design," she said, her voice clear and calm, "isn't just about glass and steel. It's about connection. It's about creating spaces that make people feel seen and valued. Architecture should never be about power. It should be about belonging." The room stayed quiet, but something in her tone pulled everyone closer. Her words carried honesty, the kind born from struggle and faith. She continued, explaining the layout, the natural airflow, the solar balance, the purpose of every curve. The board members leaned forward, taking notes. When she finished, the head of the committee spoke, his voice warm. "Miss Brown, this is extraordinary. Your design changes how we think about public space." Applause began, hesitant at first, then stronger, spreading across the room until it filled the hall. Ethan watched from the side, pride swelling quietly in his chest. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just watched her, realizing that for the first time in her life, she wasn't hiding anymore. After the meeting, reporters swarmed around them. One journalist asked, "Miss Brown, how does it feel to go from janitor to architect overnight?" Lena smiled humbly. It wasn't overnight. It took years of being invisible before someone decided to look. Ethan stepped beside her then, his voice steady. And I'm glad I finally did. That night, the city skyline shimmered with life. From his office window, Ethan looked out at the lights and saw reflections of Lena's building, her dream taking form. He turned to find her standing behind him, holding 2 cups of coffee. To new beginnings, she said softly. He smiled, taking one. And to people who never gave up. For a long moment, they said nothing more. Just 2 souls standing side by side. A man learning humility and a woman rediscovering her worth. The city glowed beneath the velvet night sky, its towers gleaming like constellations made of glass and ambition. From the top floor of Walker Design Studio, the view stretched endlessly, a reminder of how high dreams could rise and how far people could fall. Lena stood by the window, gazing at the city below. The lights reflected in her eyes, soft and golden. Behind her, the office was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioner and the faint rustle of paper. Ethan entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You're still here," he said softly. She turned with a small smile. "I could say the same about you." He handed her the cup, their fingers brushing for a moment. Brief, but electric. "I can't stop looking at it," she admitted, nodding toward the illuminated model of her design on the table. "It feels unreal, like it belongs to someone else." Ethan shook his head. "It belongs to you, Lena. Every line, every curve. You earned this." She hesitated, then asked quietly, "Why did you believe in me? You could have ignored me like everyone else." Ethan leaned against the window frame, his eyes distant. "Because I saw something in you that I've been missing in myself for years." "What's that?" "Faith," he said simply. "You still believe that beauty matters, that people matter." "I forgot that somewhere along the way." Lena looked down at her coffee, her heart tightening. Maybe we both just needed a reason to remember. For a while, silence wrapped around them, comfortable and fragile. The city's heartbeat pulsed below, taxis honking, sirens echoing, lives unfolding in millions of unseen stories. Ethan broke the silence first. "You know," he said with a half-smile, "I haven't forgotten what I said the first night we met." Her eyes lifted. "You mean when you told me if I could design the building, you'd marry me?" He chuckled softly. "Yeah, that one." Lena crossed her arms, trying to hide her amusement. "I thought that was just your arrogance talking." "It was," he admitted. "But maybe arrogance had better instincts than I realized." She stared at him, unsure whether to laugh or be angry. "You can't be serious." He stepped closer, his voice gentle. "Dead serious. I meant what I said. I just didn't know how much I'd come to mean it." Lena's breath caught. The city lights framed him like a halo of gold, and for a second, she saw the man behind the title. Not the CEO, not the perfectionist, but the person who had quietly learned humility and love. "Ethan," she began, but he shook his head. "I'm not asking for an answer tonight," he said softly. "I just need you to know how I feel." He reached into his pocket and placed something on the table, a small silver ring, simple and elegant. "Keep it," he said. "Whether or not you wear it doesn't matter. Just remember, I wasn't joking." Lena stood frozen, her heart pounding. He walked past her toward the elevator, pausing for a moment before the doors closed. "Good night, Architect Brown." The door slid shut. Lena stood there, staring at the ring glinting under the soft office light. A storm of emotion swirled inside her, disbelief, gratitude, fear, hope. She picked it up gently, whispering to herself, "What are you doing to me, Ethan Walker?" Outside the window, dawn began to rise, spilling light over the city, and over the woman who had once been invisible, now standing in the glow of her own destiny. Weeks passed, and the rhythm of Walker Design Studio changed forever. The once sterile office now buzzed with life, laughter, and energy. Employees spoke of Lena Brown not as a janitor, but as Architect Brown, the woman whose design had redefined what the company stood for. Her sketches were framed in the main lobby. Her name appeared in business magazines. And yet, despite the sudden fame, Lena stayed the same. Humble, quiet, kind. Every morning she still greeted the cleaning crew, sometimes even helping them sweep the halls when no one was watching. But Ethan watched. Every time he saw her, something stirred in him, a feeling that was no longer admiration, but something deeper, something impossible to ignore. The unspoken distance. The city board approved the groundbreaking ceremony for the new building, a massive project that would carry Lena's design into reality. Reporters wanted interviews. Investors wanted photos. Ethan wanted her to take the spotlight, but Lena hesitated. "I'm not ready for this kind of attention," she said one afternoon in his office. He looked up from his laptop. "Lena, you stood before the entire city board and made them believe in your vision. You can handle a few reporters." She smiled faintly. "That was different. That was about the building, not me." He leaned back, watching her carefully. "You are the building." Her brows lifted slightly. "What do you mean?" He looked out the window, thinking. "Your design wasn't just about walls and glass. It was about rebuilding something broken. You taught me that architecture is supposed to heal. Maybe that's what you've been doing all along." She didn't answer. Her chest felt tight, her pulse loud in her ears. The sincerity in his voice made it harder to breathe. He continued softly. "You've been fixing me too, Lena." That last line lingered in the air like a confession neither of them could undo. But not everyone in the company shared Ethan's admiration. Rumors spread quickly, whispers about favoritism, about how the CEO was too close to the new star architect. Some employees muttered that Lena had used her charm to climb up the ladder. One evening, as Lena was gathering her files, she overheard two voices outside the elevator. "She's just lucky the boss took pity on her," one said. "Pity? Please. You think he'd defend her like that if she wasn't special to him?" The words cut deep. She wanted to shout, to defend herself, but she didn't. She just walked away quietly, her heart heavy. That night, Ethan found her sitting alone in the dark meeting room, staring at her own design projected on the wall. He walked in slowly. "You didn't go home." She didn't turn. "Maybe I shouldn't be here at all." Ethan frowned. "What are you talking about?" "People are saying things," she whispered. "That I didn't earn this. That I'm here because of you." His expression darkened. "Who said that?" "It doesn't matter," she said softly. "They're not wrong. You did help me. You gave me a chance when no one else would." Ethan stepped closer, his voice low and intense. "No, Lena. I didn't give you anything you didn't already deserve. I just saw what others refused to see." Her eyes glistened. "But now you're paying the price for believing in me." He shook his head. "If believing in you is a price, I'll pay it 1,000 times." The room fell silent again, filled with tension that was neither professional nor entirely safe. "Ethan," she said quietly, "I can't let this ruin you." He stepped closer. "You won't." She looked up, her breath trembling. "Then tell me, what am I to you?" His voice softened. "You're the best thing that's ever walked into this building." Her eyes widened, tears threatening to fall. "Please don't say that unless you mean it." "I mean every word," he said. "From the first night I watched you draw, I knew I'd never look at the world the same way again." And before she could stop him, he took her hand, gently, hesitantly, as though afraid she might vanish. Days turned into nights filled with quiet glances, shared coffees, and long hours spent revising blueprints together. But beneath the closeness lay a fragile boundary neither dared to cross completely. Until one evening, as rain lashed against the windows, Ethan found Lena on the rooftop terrace. She stood alone, her hair damp, her blouse clinging lightly to her skin. He approached slowly. "You'll get sick out here." She smiled faintly. "You always say that when you're worried." He stopped beside her. "You always come up here when you're hurting." She looked out at the skyline, her voice trembling. "This city doesn't care who you are, Ethan. You can build the tallest towers, and it still finds ways to make you feel small." He turned to face her. "Then maybe we stop trying to be taller. Maybe we just try to be real." Lena's eyes glistened. "Real doesn't survive in this world." "Then let's prove it wrong." He reached for her hand again, and this time, she didn't pull away. The thunder cracked behind them, lightning flashing across the city. The rain fell harder, soaking them both, yet neither moved. Ethan whispered, "You once built a design that could connect people. Now you've built something I never thought I'd find again." She tilted her head. "What's that?" "Love," he said simply. Lena's lips trembled, her voice barely a whisper. "You promised you'd marry me if I finished that design." He smiled, rain dripping down his face. "And I keep my promises." Months later, the groundbreaking ceremony for the building became the city's most anticipated event. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, and Lena stood beside Ethan, her hand in his. The mayor announced the start of construction, calling it the Brown Walker Center, a symbol of hope and humanity. Ethan turned to her, his eyes soft. "It has your name now." She smiled, tears forming. "No, Ethan. It has ours." When the applause faded, he leaned closer and whispered, "Lena Brown, will you finally let me make good on my promise?" Her laughter mixed with tears as she whispered back, "Yes, Ethan Walker, I will." And there, beneath the rising skyline of the dream she built, two hearts that came from different worlds finally met as equals. Not in power, not in wealth, but in purpose. From that day on, people spoke of Lena not as the janitor who became an architect, but as the woman who built love.